y'all, Marvin here from Blacktop Banter. Really quick, just wanted to talk about the 800 Pavement Network. As you can see, we have some lettering there, lettering on our other truck over there, lettering on this truck here. They all say 1-800-Blacktop. We've been using the 1-800-Blacktop number here for the last couple years. It's really been exceptional for us as far as making things click with our branding, and now that we're in another state, those area codes are together. It's worked out fantastically for us. The other thing is that 800 Pavement Network has other advantages. There's group discounts on a lot of the products and materials that we use within our industry. We're part of over 300 different, see that one? Over 300 different contractors that are now using these numbers all over the country. That's combined over $2 billion in gross profits. So if you've been thinking about it or you're curious about it and you're like, well, should I or shouldn't I? DM me, message me, or reach out to 800 Pavement Network. You can find them online through their website. You can call 1-800-Pavement and you'll get them as well. They'd be happy to run you through kind of the advantages and everything else that we've been taking advantage of here at Wiscote and Dubuque Asphalt Maintenance, and how it can benefit you as well. Once again, if you're curious about it at all, you can always DM me. See that? 1-800-Blacktop. You can DM me or message me or email me through the podcast or Wiscote or wherever as well. I would love to talk to you about how it has helped us. Hey everybody, welcome back once again. This is Blacktop Banter, and this is episode 67. I'm kind of finding that maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot by numbering all these, because sometimes I'm going to have to flip-flop them. So if it is, you're just going to have to deal with it, because this has never been a serious show, and you'll just have to go back to go forward some of these times. But I think we're doing all right with it. I think we're going to keep a good pace with it. We've had a great mix lately. There's the roots of this podcast and our community, our followers. I never want to get away from. The one thing that always excites me is when I can go through and see my friends' stories of success and share those with our audience, and I get to witness them along the way as well. I love those stories. I think that's what makes our industry what it is. That's what inspires people like myself and these guys I got on today that we met 4 or 5 years ago, and now our businesses look completely different, and I would say successful, both of them. But those are the kind of stories that inspire us, and I'm hoping they inspire everybody else. So, I mean, I'm not telling you guys that you got a big show to follow up, but we did have the NASCAR World Champion Truck Series, and he's probably going to be the champion again. So he's like the best of the best. And then Daniel Wright came after that, and that guy, whatever. And then you guys are here. So without any further ado, I'll introduce two of my good friends, Marco and Kevin of All Out. You guys go ahead, and we'll start with Marco, and then after him, Kevin introduce himself.
All right, Marv, thank you for having us on here. Really special to see where you've gotten since we first met. So awesome. And so Marco Menna, here with Kevin McGarvey. We're business partners. We actually know each other since grade school. We're from Delaware County, which is right outside of Philadelphia. From high school, we worked together and hung out in high school, and just kind of always had a connection with just doing hustles and, doing landscaping, shoveling snow during the winter, played sports together. So we had a friendship, but we also had a friendship at a young age of, working together. Both went to different colleges. I went to Temple University. Kevin went to Westchester University. We kept in touch, still would hang out. And during that time, we were kind of, bouncing ideas off each other about what we were going to do after college. Kev had the idea of starting a business. And at the time, I thought that was a great idea and didn't think it was going to be that hard. Little did I know, it's going to be really hard. So while we were juniors in college, we started seal coating driveways, just with an E250 van, buckets, going around knocking on doors.
Dude, there's a picture of you guys in the van. holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good one.
It
You
was,
guys were so styling, dude. You guys look, oh my gosh, for real.
E250 van and some buckets. I mean, that's where it all, that's where, that's where we started. So, I mean, and then
Damn.
from there, we kind of found out, hey, we can compete. We did a competitive analysis, of like kind of the local seal coating contractors in the area, kind of found out where everybody was price wise. So we came in, as the cheapest guys in the beginning, just to kind of get our foot in the door. We started seal coating a bunch of family, friends' houses where we made a ton of mistakes on, and they gave us second chances. So that was really growing pains for with that. And then, kind of realized, hey, we can do this. And while we were, finishing up our college, graduate from college, it was kind of like, let's do this for real. So we actually started an LLC and under All Out Services, and then kind of branched off to do All Out Seal Coat. And then, it became a fully residential business, launched a website and did it full time. Both, college graduates, would seal all over our hands, all over our clothes, and just kind of going around. People thought we were crazy. So yeah, that's on the kind of how it started. So.
Well, that's it for the podcast. Kevin, you talk next time. Let's have Kevin come back next time and talk on his own.
I do want to say, listen, I know you had a professional athlete on here. What would you say, the podcast before, 2 podcasts ago? But Marco was actually a professional athlete at one time, a sport called chrono. So if you guys want to Google that, but Marco was a pro athlete.
Isn't that a sport? I might be completely wrong, but it's in India, correct? Am I right about that?
I don't think it's in India now. It was some guy who made up he made up a sport between like soccer and handball.
Oh, it was real easy to be pro then. Is what you're trying to say.
We got paid to play. So
did you really get paid to play?
We did get paid to play, and then Kev was actually while I was playing, Kev was actually reffing in the league. So he was the ref, and then we had the team. So it was kind of funny.
Did you guys at least sleep in different beds? I mean, damn. One thing I wanted to say about that is you guys must never argue, right? Like being as you grew up together, it just has to be perfectly kinship, never argue, never disagreements or anything, I'm sure.
Still to this day,
yeah,
back and forth, but it's always respectful, and it's always we always know that each other is coming with a positive intention, right?
Yeah.
So
it's not easy. I mean, it's not easy, dude. Like, it's not easy to begin with in this industry. Like you said, Marco, were you super naive right away, right? And you're like, oh, dude, we're just gonna keep crushing, we're gonna grow a business. And then all of a sudden you're like, this might be one of the worst businesses to try to grow a big business in. Like, it's fucking insane. But on the flip side, it's advantageous in a sense. It's super hard with a partnership because there's a whole different dynamic. Like me, I can sink this mother effer if I want to. Like, and it's just on me. Like, I don't got to answer anybody. Or if I decide, hey, this is what's best for us, I don't got to run it by anybody here at Wiscoat. I just do it. So it's definitely harder, I think, in certain aspects from a business partnership, but also it's advantageous as well, because I know that I wouldn't make many mistakes if I would have had another set of eyes with me and another brain going with me at the same time from a completely different perspective. So you guys have it both ways, best of both worlds, I guess, when it comes to it. Why, Kevin? Like, why seal coating? Why did you guys just pick that out? What the hell?
Yeah, so I guess the summer before, I got involved with a program called College Works Painting. And, you learned how to run a painting business while I was in school. And we had to, do the marketing, go door to door, and then make the sales. We had to hire the painters. I had a 40-foot ladder on top of my Ford Taurus that I would drive around and take from job site to job site. And, just kind of learned how to run a service business.
Yeah.
And then so the next year, I was in class with the guy who had seal coated driveways, just like on the side. That was a thing that he did. And he was a few counties over from us. And I said, hey, let me take that model, right? And do what I was doing with the painting business, and let's apply this to seal coating. And so that's all we did, because you have your labor, your overhead, and your materials, right? And so we just switched out that material from paint to sealer, and that's how we started up.
Dude, the best thing about it is you didn't look like an ass driving with a ladder around on top of your foot anymore, dude. There was no need for it when you switched to seal coating. So that's kind of like the origin story of how y'all started. And I really love your guys' story, because there's little tidbits like that I don't know all of yet. And because there's both of you, sometimes I get both perspectives of it at different times. The other thing, which maybe people will know, is your guys' personalities are contrasting as well a little bit. And I think that that's perfect, because it allows you guys to be the man without it having to be one man, right? Like I know parts where Marco is strong, Kevin might not be that strong, and parts where Marco is weak, Kevin picks up the slack there. It's perfect. And what I've found is, over time, when I talk to you guys, those spots where we weren't excelling at, where you guys weren't excelling at, you guys have gotten better in those areas, each of you, as time has went on here. So there are some people where immediately a partnership is just like, it tanks, right? Because egos get in the way big time, and they don't have the history that you guys have. I would imagine you guys would consider yourself brothers. We both know another pair of dudes that are in this industry that would consider themselves brothers, and that partnership works out fantastically. And there's some contrasting SOBs too. I think that that's the secret sauce. So for me, being on the outside and looking in at a lot of different businesses in our industry, I can see what has the secret sauce and what doesn't, even when they don't see it. When I first met you two, first I met Marco right away, because Marco came at me and told me how dumb I was. Whatever. I'll tell the story. I'll tell the story here, and then you tell the story afterwards. But what I'm saying is, there is certain people where that history makes for a great partnership, and I couldn't tell them, but I was like, if I was going to be in a partnership, this is how I would want it to be. Now I'll cut to the story. So 2018, Cleveland, I was speaking on social media and how we need to use it, how everybody should use it, how it's advantageous. And if you don't use it, somebody that was our size then is going to use it and probably kick the shit out of guys that were established, that were just fluffing it off and saying they don't need it. Fast forward to all of us that sat in that room, we're all doing exceptionally well, and we all use social media advantageously to ourselves and our businesses as well. So if you want to know the story of what it was, I had been posting videos on Wiscoat a little bit here and there on the Wiscoat page, but they weren't so much for me drawing more work into Wiscoat as much as going into the social media influencing side. So all these super clean, crisp videos that Marco was like, come up, he's like, dude, you could show your work so much better. I'm like, I could? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, you could get a drone, I can't remember what it was, what he told me.
360 camera back then.
Yeah. 360 camera, get a GoPro on this. Yeah, 360 camera, gimbal. And then he was like, the editing software, he's like, you could cut that out, put montage together, says Wiscoat, and dude, like, it'd be perfect. And I was like, yeah, man, I totally could do that. But I'm just gonna keep doing selfie videos and showing what I do. And he was like, whatever, I guess. And we fast forward those videos. My intention was for this realm, right? Blacktop banners, social media, making people feel like they were part of a community and being able to usher that into the years that come. So it's not like Marco was wrong and I was right. It's just our perspectives were different. Now, if you go look at some of your guys's video work, especially around the stadium, which we'll talk about, Marco was dead on the nuts about how you should be editing and filming your stuff and putting it together the way it is, because that is one of the best promo pieces you guys have ever put together. It was a huge, huge reference and base for where you guys started at. And now, okay, we'll go into that a little bit. So let's start real quick about the stadium job, because this will be the last time I ask you to tell it, Marco. I promise. But I'll probably tell somebody else to ask you when we're at an event or something. But it'll be the last time I ask you to tell it. But we'll talk about the stadium job and then how you guys grew from there.
Sure. Yeah. So,
how'd you get the job? How'd you get the job first?
Yeah. So it's for the Phillies, Flyers, and Sixers in Philadelphia. You know, we had, you know, every year at the end of the year, Kev would do a great job of let's have, you know, what's our vision of getting, what do we want to, like, what client and what jobs do we want to try and attack next year? And, you know, obviously the landing a job at the stadiums down in where Philadelphia, where basically, if you're not from Philadelphia, you know it, but there's a complex down there where all 4 major sports teams play at one complex, and there's millions of square feet of asphalt and concrete down there where it's just parking lot, massive parking lot. So we threw it on the board. And then, yeah, Kev, I mean, talk about how you ended up getting your foot in the door there.
Yeah, sure. It was honestly just a cold call. So, so I cold called and then was able to get, you know, one person's name, who then, you know, bounced me to this person and gave me this person's email and whatever. So it took a little bit, right? But I finally found that right person. You know, as luck would have it, you know, they did have a project coming up that summer. So yeah, we reached out over the winter. They had a project coming up that summer. You know, it was kind of a long sales process, but I think they kind of saw the passion that we had for it, right? Like, hey, this is, you know, this is what we really want. You know, this is a dream job for us. You know, we tailgate on these parking lots before games, and we're not going to be able to tailgate on these lots unless we're seal coating them and striping. Right. And so I think they just saw that, and you know, we were awarded the job, and yeah, we've been doing work down there now the past 5 years. So
when you got it, did you have the, oh hell yeah, and then the, oh shit? Yeah. You hit
the nail right on the head right there.
Yeah. So the first job they awarded to us was the Flyers skate zone in Voorhees, New Jersey, which was about a 50,000 square foot job. And at the time, that was one of the bigger jobs we'd ever accomplished. So we went all out with the, you know, on the job and with the video. So we made a really good video. And that's actually on our website where, you know, we basically put it all.
I'm guessing together. You guys always go all out.
That's I mean, yeah.
Okay. Keep going. Anyways, keep going. Yeah, you put it on the website.
So then, you know, they asked us to do, you know, bid out a job that was 10 times the size. You know, so we're just like, okay, so now from 50,000 square feet, now we're bidding out 500,000 square feet, right? So, you know, we went in super aggressive. We made proposal videos. You know, we made awesome proposals. We really just tried to really make them feel we were going to go all out for them.
And you also displayed that you were very, very professional and prepared and could handle the job with that kind of stuff. I think that's a big separator. A lot of guys will they'll send the same proposal in the exact same fashion to the same guy that's got a 10,000 square foot parking lot to the guy that's got 100 or 500,000 square foot parking lot, and they completely shoot themselves in the foot, because anybody who knows something should know that if it's a high end client, you probably should be putting yourself forward as a high end contractor. And the way you guys did it, it sounds like made that happen, right?
Yeah. And then once we got the, you know, awarded the project, it didn't just stop there. I mean, it was like while we were there, we made sure that we got great footage of, you know, while we were working. You couldn't have a drone fly over that job site because you were so close to the Philadelphia International Airport. So we had to rent out a helicopter. So we had a helicopter flying over the job site with the doors off, and just capturing footage. And so I mean, it was one of those. And at the time, that was, you know, a huge investment on our end, but we saw the vision of like, hey, this is a really good investment to make sure we have this footage, just because, you know, now we're going to be able to showcase it at all the trade shows and showcase
Yeah.
it to any prospective clients. And, you know, it was really cool.
Dude, not a lot of people put that pre-thought into that kind of stuff, right? I mean, we do, and I did when I started showing my work, but for people that hadn't done that and it hadn't been mainstream yet, like it is now, like no one lets that kind of opportunity pass by now, right? Like they're like, dude, no matter what, even if they don't record shit ever, they still record those high profile jobs so that they can use it in some capacity. So what was it like that you guys that year, that must have been, what year was that project?
2017.
Yeah. So then the next year is why Marco had so much effing confidence when he come up to me and told me, run out a helicopter over your driveways so that you can show these people how kick ass it is. What was it then? How did the vision change then? Because you guys went from, it's so crazy to think about that you went from 50K, which even to us here, right at Wisco, that's a good damn job. And then you jump up, boom, 10 times as big. And then what after that?
I mean, almost hit $1 million the following year. In square footage form.
Dang.
It's one of those things. Once you get the opportunity and you do it the first time, the second time,
they call you.
Well, and then, but as you do it operationally, you're just like, oh, okay, these jobs, this is how you do it. This is the system that we're using. So like,
yep.
For instance, for seal coating, like utilizing that spray shield when you have thousands of feet of curb, that cuts so much time.
Yeah.
Sending out an Elgin Broom Bear sweeper team in front of you so that they're getting the majority of this stuff, you know, swept out of the way, so that, you know, spray bar, making sure you have 2 spray bars going, making sure you have, you know, bulk tanks on site that
to
have
pull from. The ones to pull from. Yeah.
I think it's that you know, that Jim Rohn quote where it says like, you know, it doesn't get easier, right? You just get better. And so, so that's, as we continue to grow in our businesses, right? Like that's how we get.
So before I go any farther, did you both graduate then from college?
Yes.
Okay. What did you major in, Marco?
I was a sports management major with a minor in history.
That makes sense. And Kevin?
I was business management.
That also makes sense. Okay. So going forward with that, you can totally see that. And you can totally see how that plays into how you guys do things, and your personalities as well. So what about after the stadium job, right? So you have all this content, you have a huge reference, like shit. I don't know that you could get a better one as far as fans go, right? And people knowing it, besides maybe the airport or Eagle Stadium or some shit. How do you use that? How do you use that content? What was the plan with it after that?
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, we made the video. We have that as the backdrop of our website. And then, you know, we were able to leverage those references, right? I mean, you have those references. It's the most recognizable parking lot in the area. So it just gives us that, gives us that confidence going into selling other jobs. And then B, like it automatically gives us that credibility. So if anybody's asking like, hey, we're not sure if these guys are good enough, like, wow, you did work for the Phillies. Oh my God. Yeah. These guys have to be top notch because the Phillies aren't just going to hire anybody. So, so yeah, it was a big deal for us.
So then what did it look like? Because obviously your guys's clientele has changed, right? Some before that job and after that job. Now it seems like we've completely phased out anything residential, correct? Right.
Yes.
So why would you, obviously, with millions of square feet under your feet? So how did you guys adapt and change to that, to where you kept leads coming in and did you keep doing the cold calls? Did they start coming in after that? How did you market yourself after that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a combination of, you know, traditional style marketing and then cutting edge marketing. You know, both work.
Yeah.
So traditional style, like doing trade shows, joining associations, getting involved. That's key. You want to build relationships with property managers and with people in the industry, right?
Yeah.
And you want to be top of mind, so you want to be recognizable. So that's
Yeah.
a huge key. As far as like having that, kind of like the cutting edge, where the videos, I mean, direct email marketing. If we really want a project, you have a proposal. Have
Yeah.
a proposal video right there with it, talking about, hey, this is what we're going to do. Please share this with the board. Please share this with your counterparts. We're going to be going up against our competition, and you have somebody with just a regular proposal, and you have somebody with a proposal and a video to go along with it, going through it. Again, that's going the extra mile. That's going to separate yourself.
You get it.
I mean,
no, you guys get it. You get it, Kevin. I not to say anything about Marco's LinkedIn, but I really like following Kevin's LinkedIn. He tends to say things in a way that I wouldn't say them, which I'm not as professional. I don't believe. I didn't trust me, dude. The moments I spent in college, at any kind of college, they don't equal up to anything that you guys did. So, you still use that stuff, especially on LinkedIn now, because that's who your target is, correct? Like, we want people that are in the positions at these businesses, because obviously if they have a lot of employees, they got to park somewhere. That seems to be where some of the tact is going, as well as like you were saying, Marco, was still some of the traditional stuff, as far as trade shows and those things. That's the branding, right? Like, that's the thing. People, when I spoke at MPE that year, they wanted to know the ROI right now, because that's how they had understood marketing forever. How many readers does the newspaper go out to? How many people are going to get this phone book? And for me, I had to explain to them, like, it's you're trying to get yourself, like you were saying, Marco, to top of mind, where when they think we need our parking lot done, they don't go into Google and type parking lot maintenance. They type in all out services, right? Like, that's what you want. You want them to think of you at top of mind. You guys handled that perfectly. The transition went perfectly. Let's talk about all out right now. And because people have kind of followed along, we started in a van. You guys had badass haircuts. Congratulations on having a haircut. And then you have this moment where you have a huge masterpiece, and then you transition that thing into leverage to where you guys are now. So let's talk about where you are physically right now. You guys are at, I was going to say something really, really freaking cool, but we're at the Courtyard Marriott. Beautiful, right? Is that right? Courtyard Marriott in Albany, New York. Shout out to them if they want to shout out.
Catskills is beautiful up here.
Oh, I love upstate New York's beautiful. Got a couple friends up there, Johnstown. So let's talk about how this looks right now, because you guys have transcended to where I'll talk to Marco every other week, and every other week he's in a different part of the country taking care of business. How did that model look like, Kev? Like, you're like, okay, we want to keep getting commercial work, and we want to get large commercial work. How did that model look like? What did you guys put on the drawing board to say, okay, this is how we're going to do it, and we're open to going anywhere in the country and making it work? How does somebody, first of all, come up with a game plan for that, and then how do you pull it off?
Right, for sure. So I think in any business, it starts out one way, right? And then you see opportunity, and then when that opportunity is there, you go ahead and you seize it. And for us, we just we started out doing driveways, right? Opportunities presenting themselves in the commercial realm. We started doing then commercial seal coating and then striping. And then from there, they started asking us to do patching. So we got into asphalt patching, and then concrete, and then paving from there. And we had some bigger brands approach us and ask us to do some work for them. And we were able to perform that locally, and then from there they said, hey, listen, we like the way that you guys operate, and we'd like for you to do more work for us. Can you do it, here in this part of the country, right in the Northeast? And then, all of a sudden it became the whole East Coast. And then now we're doing work in 25 states. And so I think in business, you start out one way, like Chick-fil-A used to be a huge diner with all these different things on the menu, right? And then they pivoted and transformed into what they are today. And I think, a lot of businesses are like that, right? That's kind of how we operated. We saw those opportunities, and we didn't turn them down. We said, hey, we're gonna take these things on, I think I'm going to give another quote here. The Richard Branson quote was like, if somebody gives you a great opportunity, even if you don't know how to do it, say yes, and then figure it out, right? And so that's what we've done.
Dude, I figure with that quote, what I've always figured is, if you fail at it, it's just be the same thing as if you said no, right? So it's like, well, all you did when you said no, you completely eliminated your chance. So there has been times early on where, I knew infrastructurally wise, we weren't going to be able to do this thing, right? And then go ahead, I'll give Marco credit. He's like, dude, you can do anything. You can do any size if you do this. And our highest grossing year was when I took Marco's advice on that. And one thing that I'll say is that it gave me a glimpse of what's possible if you think outside of the box, and if you think beyond what your own abilities are with your own two hands, right? So here at Wisco, we do have subcontractors, but we still do a lot in-house. And there's some stuff where we don't touch it at all, and it's subcontracted out, and we still make on it, right? That business model has allowed us to expand, and we're in Dubuque now as well. And, we've got opportunities to do things in different states as well. I never thought that would be a thing. Like, I just was like, I'm going to have to keep opening an office here, and then open an office here, and then open an office here. And it's not like that at all, especially nowadays. You guys have transitioned to that fairly well. I seen a picture the other day, right? You guys had an orientation, but it was a kickoff event, right? You guys, that's how you guys phrase it, kickoff event.
Yes.
See, dude, I pay attention, dude, to almost everything. That team, what does that team do that you had in that picture? Like who in general, what do they all do? They don't have to name them and what they do, but like this we have somebody that does this, we have somebody that does this, we have somebody that does this. What do those people in that picture do?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we had, that was at our headquarters in Newcastle, Delaware, which is about a half hour south of Philadelphia, right on the tip of Delaware and PA, right over there. But we had our operations manager, Javier Valdez. He was there. We had our foreman of our crews. They were there. We had our sales estimator team there. And this is with all significant others and their families. And now, I mean, I didn't realize how many kids we had. I mean, it's just pretty remarkable. So we were actually, one of the main reasons we were bringing everyone together was to celebrate that we just had the ability to offer everyone benefits this year, which was cool. An amazing step we were able to take for everybody. So that was one thing that we were celebrating. We were actually also hanging up a jersey for Jerry Schaefer, he was our VP of operations, who had passed away this off season. And he was one of the most influential people that ever worked it all out. He came over and brought in a lot of people, almost I think 12 or 13 employees when he came on board, and we hung up his jersey, 21 Capitals jersey, and had the flag. Had flags representing all the countries that everybody was from. That works it all out. And we had his parents come in to see that, us hanging it. So that was another thing we did at the kickoff, which was really cool. We had operations managers on the in-house side and on the national side. We just had a recent hire, Eliana Racos, who actually lives in Las Vegas, who works for us full time. She works remote full time. for us, which is really cool. She's really great.
Dude, this
uh,
shit's crazy. It's
yeah.
crazy, dude.
What else? I mean, we have, anyone from number 2 to number 4 on the crew
Yeah.
as well.
So let's talk about that real quick, because most of the time when you see businesses within our industry, they're like my business, where most of it, everything is handled right here. It's our crews that do everything, that do all the work on our projects. That's on the estimate. Most of the time, it's all handled right here at Wisco. Now, there are other companies where when they give the estimate, not anybody at all. There's guys that are one-man businesses that get national contract work and don't ever touch anything, right? You guys have been able to cater to everybody, right? So, like you were saying, you got your crews that go out, can handle aspects of it, but also you guys have the resources and the ability and the know-how, and what I would like to say is the system, in order to get anything done, whether it's hiring a subcontractor for this or that or whatever. You guys are able to do it all in that. So it's if this is where Wisco is and this is where that one guy is, you guys cater. We're all right in this niche right here. That's a very unique model to keep, and it's a very unique space to be in. But I think it's advantageous to you guys because you guys have men on the projects like all the time, not just you two, watching it get done. You guys have men there, as well as anything that those guys that are your guys can't do. You still have the resources to have top of the line guys come in and do top of the line work on your projects as well, with all their equipment and everything. Is that something that you guys shot for? Is it just where you are now and you're like, well, we're living in this right now? What does that look like, dudes? Because it's, like I said, unique when you're in my position watching it.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Okay.
like I said, I guess, we kind of stumbled into it. I would like to think it's the grand master plan, but opportunities presented themselves. And then, listen, you need to take those, calculated risks, right? There could have been some things where, hey, it failed and it could have been detrimental, but we were able to make everything work. And I think it's that great hybrid of, hey, listen, we're guys who come from the field, right? We've done the work with our bare hands and,
Yeah.
and know this and in and out. And so when we're speaking, with executives or whomever it may be at these companies, right? We're able to articulate properly that, hey, not only do we know it from the business side, which is important to them, right, but we also know it from the technical side because we've done it with our own two hands, and so it kind of gives that that feel for them, that they get a real good feeling and they're comfortable working with us, and so
That's a big deal.
Not only does it go a long way with your clients, it goes a long way with who you work with as well, and employees and and partners, because they can already pick up right away that you've been there and you're trying to coach them through a difficult situation. Because again, like in asphalt and concrete, I mean, you're presented with challenges every single day.
Dude, as soon as you peel it up, you're like, oh shit, yeah. And then you got to break the news, right? Because you're like, dude, we're not eating this, or whatever the hell it is. So yeah. But when I think about that in you two, you're so damn good at it. You guys, I think, you guys have big dreams. You're always pushing. You're always going. I don't think you give yourselves enough credit for the space that you're in, because it's not just something that just happens. I think you guys have the talent, the secret sauce, and you have great game planning. You guys execute like you were professional athletes at one point, and next thing you know, you guys are in that space. And then you have free time, right? We're at MPE. All three were at MPE this year. Thank God. I truly appreciated that. Marco, you talked earlier about cutting edge. Some of that stuff is essential. Some of those expos, the conferences, the things we go to is essential for us to keep being at the front, right, of the people that are submitting these bids for all this work. Can we kind of talk about that a little bit, maybe about how that has also helped you guys? You and I both know that the main reason we go to this stuff is to talk to people, and be in the room and hear the conversation, even though sometimes I can't remember it, just because we're having too much fun, but I still do remember some of it. Can we talk about that a little bit, the importance of that? Because we were all three of us at MPE.
That Cleveland show will go down like as like legendary. It was
Yeah.
our expectations of Cleveland going in, me and Kevin making fun of it because we used to go to Nashville. One year was in Lauderdale. Our expectations were like down here, and we ended up leaving there going, Cleveland's a great time. It was a great city.
Yeah.
And actually, I know we gave up a lot for that. The Eagles had just won the Super Bowl, and that's never happened in Philadelphia, and we passed up on that because we were like, hey, listen, the MPE is our Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, we get so much from going to the expo every year. I mean, back to our first year, right? I mean, we didn't have two nickels to rub together. We're barely scraping by, right? We both had side jobs while we're starting this business and everything like that, because we not afford to pay ourselves and stuff, and barely had any money. But we were like, listen, we have to go to this, right? There's definitely going to be value down there. We've got to see these other companies, talk to these other guys, and so we basically we scrounged up enough change to get down there, and then we just mooched off of the vendor parties, and that's where we ate and drank or whatever, because we couldn't afford anything else really. But that's that was game changer for us, right? We were able to get down there,
Dude,
make contact, learn from people, and that's how we were able to grow the business.
Yeah, it was a cataclysm right there. Like, it was a spark. Daniel Wright talks about that in the episode before your guys' is this one here, in BB66. He said that same thing. He's like, dude, I couldn't afford it. I don't know, the whole time I was there, I was like, I can't afford to go, but I'm gonna go. He's like, in that MPE in Cleveland of all places, he's like, changed the trajectory of my business forever. And all he did was ask questions the whole time he was there. We went to that SEAL. Remember, we went to the SEAL Master Party and it had that buffet, right? Of like, oh, dude, and we were all hungry as shit because none of us really had money at that point. But I remember he didn't even eat that night. He just asked questions. He soaked it up and absorbed all the info. And I think that was the first time, because the US SEAL Coders group had kind of started. Some of these groups had started. We had kind of, people had started communicating a little bit, and creating a community. I think that was the first time in our world that we realized that was a huge valuable asset. Like, the money that you spend to go is worth it just for being in the room and talking to those people, right? And understanding. Now, when you go onto the floor, like we were this year, you see the potential, right? Of, dude, you can go here, you can have this, you can do this with this equipment, you can be in this room with this, you can do this. There were milling machines there, the Lee boys were there at MPE. We had everything that in the parking lot world you aspire to have or use at some point in some way. So not only does it make your aspirations high and let you reset goals and see what's possible, but also you're able to talk to the people that are making it happen, right, at that point. So
and everybody's willing to help you too, because we're all fighting the same battles, right? We're all dealing with the same challenges. So when you're asking, and then like for us on our end, like we might ask our friends or family, like and like vent to them about something that's going on at work. But then when you vent to like a guy like Mark Estrada or Zach Love from Marathon Solutions, who have a very similar story to me and Kev, it's like a whole different dynamic, because it's like, oh, no way, I went through the same thing. This is what we did. This is how we handled it. This is what didn't work. This is what worked really well. And it's just like, now people open up, and then you're able to, those takeaways of sharing best business practices. That's the most thing that I always take out of it. And then I was invited to go down and actually shadow Mark and Zach in Houston, learning how to do that. I mean, they're the best stripers in the country. Literally, what they're doing on the striping level. We weren't even doing striping in house yet. And I know you did the same thing. You went down there and you.
But I didn't shadow him. I just forced my way in there and was like, show me what the F you guys are doing.
Captain Striper, man. Oh my goodness, I learned so much from that
legend.
Guy.
Legend. And when you talk about striping, there's 5 guys maybe more, maybe a few more that are top tier, totally top tier. And then not only that, but they're doing incredible numbers. Like it almost, they're like marathon runners, which is funny that that's, you know, the boys' names down there. But some of these stripers they're going all night. Some of them are going 72 hours, no sleeping. Some are doing 30 jobs a day. If it is the same day, they can't even remember. You know, but the quality is always there, and they're running huge businesses, doing excellent. You know, and we're able to pick their brains. Like, I don't want to do that, but I always want to be more efficient. Like, dude, if I'm going to run 2 Titans, tell me the best way I can run 2 Titans. And if it's only going to be 30 stalls, shit, show me how to do them perfect. And the boys can do it. And I think that that's the thing, like you were talking about, Marco. It allows you to see, if you wanted to go that route, we have the resources to do that. It flashback 20 years ago to those guys that had a community but had no way to share it with anybody outside of the ones that were at MP, that had kind of met and had drinks and they talked on the phone once in a while. We have that same thing, but now we have it more in depth, more resourceful, and it's at the push of a button, right? And not only like, can I get your guys' perspective within an hour, I can have 20 different perspectives if I want to. And then all of a sudden be like, okay, this is the general way that it's done successfully, and we're off. Before that, some guy was talking to some guy at MPE at a bar. He said one thing, he went home and tried it, didn't work. That was the end, right? And it allows us to take the fail factor and almost fucking eliminate it, because I don't want to see anybody fail. Like you said, Marco, we're all nice guys. We all share. I don't want to see anybody fail, especially my friends. And I don't have any bearing on if you guys seal 10 million square feet a month. That doesn't have a bearing on me. But when we meet, it sure is fun to talk about how much ass we kicked. And that's the big thing, right? So we were at MPE, us three were, and Kev said, bring back banter. So here we are, we're back. Unbelievably, I'll give Kev all the credit for that one. I'll give Marco the credit for expanding my mind and our highest grossing year here. And I'll give credit to Kevin for the banter being back and better than ever. But Marco and I were also at World of Asphalt this year. So Marco just couldn't get away from me this year. You know, he was like, I want to be by this guy all the time. Blah, blah. He's got a great haircut and his skin color is the perfect shade. I wish mine was. That one was a different breed altogether than what I was used to. That was my first time at World of Asphalt. Was it yours, Marco?
First time, yeah.
Right. And one thing I realized is that MP is fantastic for the asphalt maintenance world, but there's a ceiling there because it's one faceted, right? When we were at World of Asphalt, my mind was blown. Like it. And then one thing that I thought was, because we were hanging out, is some of those companies that were buying those pieces of equipment there started out the exact same way you guys did. And then all of a sudden it hit me that if Marco and I are in these rooms and making friends with people and becoming resources for them, and them becoming resources for us, like our potential is that too as well. Did you get that feeling, Marco, when we were there? Like, dude, we can.
I did. And by the way, you are the best guy to go to trade show with, man. Everybody knows you at these shows, dude. And it says, dude, and you introduce everybody. So like what you're doing in the industry right now, man, like you have some great stuff, some great karma coming back. It is awesome what you're doing and bringing people together and just like introducing and just being that, just like the life of the party.
I love it.
Like, yeah,
I love it, dude. We're going to be,
and helping people, man. Like and the guys we met from Detroit, that family, the two brothers and ARM, those guys, like stuff like that, like just and then just hearing their story and like being able to like, hey, this is what we can do to help, and like
and there they are, right? And then we get to come back and they get to say how the success happened, and it's like, yes, okay, that was right, and now we got somebody else down the line that is farther beyond us that's in that same realm saying, yeah, that is the way to do it. And then after that, do this, and this. That hits us, right? So then all of a sudden we're like, oh, cool. all right, we're going to lock that one away, lock that one away, lock that one away. And then I'm able to come back here. You guys can't see it, but my cork board, you can kind of see it. And then I got dry erase and everything over there for the vision, right, of how we're going to do everything. Dude, I will adjust that thing 10 times a year sometimes after conversations with people. And it's not that I'm that far off. It's just that after conversations and hanging out places like me and Marco hanged out, you realize that there's a more efficient way to do it and safer way to do it that gets you there faster, possibly. So I'd much rather go that track. But let's go back to talking about how it makes you just, how World of Asphalt was like, to me, it was just, it took a ceiling that I thought was there and completely obliterated it. And it made me feel this big. At MPE, I felt, this big. I liked that. That there's so much more for us in this industry. Definitely the next 30 years of our lives, we're not going to be able to consume it all and take it all in. And I like that. That means that our potential is through the roof. There's no ceiling for you guys. There's no ceiling for any of us. Just what you're comfortable with and what you're happy with at some point. So let's talk about that, Marco, your experience at World of Asphalt and being as it was the first one. I know we went to some kick-ass parties. We met a lot of people. We maybe drank a little bit and then had some good food. But what did you walk away with, the feeling of World of Asphalt?
The big takeaway is I really was focusing towards the safety courses on like that level of, basically the big league level and just sitting in those. So that was, took 2 classes there that were, and again, a lot of these classes at MPE, they're a lot of the same ones that we've been to a lot. And if you go every year, so that was cool to see those kind of classes. I also went to women in the industry class, which at the World of Asphalt, which was like almost a rally. I mean, women and we have women that work it all out, and they band together and they're like on this great team, and they love working in this industry. And like, it was great to see it on the national stage as well, which was like really cool. So it's just, and then, yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff is like, the biggest difference I would say is like, you're kind of dealing with like almost like $500,000 to $1 billion companies.
Oh yeah.
That you're sitting and talking to somebody, and, so it's like, there's some commonalities, but there's also like some stuff where it's like, completely different worlds. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to keep that going, because I thought it was I had some great takeaways. And then hanging out with the Raised on Blacktop guys, that was really cool. And seeing what they're doing, because their story is incredible. They had a great party. And then we actually partnered with Intercounty Paving as well, Tyler Spano.
So great dudes.
Party. And then they had ESSO, all 3 ESSO brothers there. That was cool to kind of link up with them.
Isn't that cool how they go like tallest to middle to lowest, and they stand like most of the time? Well, dude, that's the funniest shit.
And we're kind of sort of like in the same, like they're, North Jersey, we're in the Philly area. But like Tom and Gary and I forget what's his other brothers. Anthony. They're just like, they'll talk to you. I mean, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what worked. This is what didn't work. Like they're all about trying to help. And Tom's one of those guys, like he holds nothing back. So he'll just open all up. And we looked up to SO and a lot of his classes too. So that was cool. We had that experience.
Dude, I always look up to SO. He's like 2 feet taller than me, man. So, when we, to kind of wrap it up, we're at the events. You guys are on a beautiful trajectory. I love it. I think that no matter what, even if it was to plateau here, the word success would be synonymous with all out from here on out. The hump, the hard stuff, you guys are over that, right? And that's the biggest thing, is getting over that part. And then it's deciding what you want after that. Obviously, you guys are in Albany, New York, so you're not settling for anything here or there. We're going to keep going. We're attending the events. We're taking stuff in. We're consuming. We're planning. I know, Kevin, like your brain must just be like, okay, once we get some information, once we get some trajectory, skirt. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to get. This is where we're going to go next. What is next, guys? Like, do we have? Do you have a certain goal that you'd like to share, or is it, dude, we're just going to keep grinding doing what we've been doing. It's fell into our lap. We're in this spot, like you Kev said, or what is it? What is next at All Out?
So yeah, so for us, you know, I saw an interview with Kobe Bryant before he passed, right? And he was talking about the difference between number 8, right, and number 24. And he said, listen, like when I was number 8, I had to go out there, you know, prove to everybody that I could do this, that I belonged, that I was the best player in the NBA. I had to go out, score all these points, become an assassin out there, do all this stuff, right? And then when he transitioned into 24, you know, it was all about making those around him better, right? Making his teammates better. And so, listen, me and Marco, you know, we had to go out there, we had to do everything, we had to perform all the work, we had to sell all the work, all that stuff, right? But now we're transitioning into that 24 phase where it's like, hey, we need to, you know, help our team to get better, right? We need to set them up for success. And that's kind of the point where we're at. So we're building a great team. We've got a great company culture at All Out, and we're just trying to make those on our team around us better.
Dude,
Make it the best place. Make it the best place to work too. I mean, that's we want the word's going to get out that we try and treat everybody with respect, and we try and provide opportunity the best we can. You know, offering benefits this year was a big deal. Offering a Bitcoin bonus and offering financial planning services that we're covering, mostly covering, not all of it, but most of it for our employees. And then, you know, again, it's kind of with that the opportunity. I mean, how big this thing could grow, it you know, it depends. I mean, there's a lot of things on the macro level that we don't have control of, right? So
of course,
hopefully, you know, things kind of plateau and they don't get worse, right? But during tough times, we saw like our biggest growth during COVID, right? Like, so what we started to realize, you know, like, hey, we can do a lot virtually. So like a lot of our meetings that we're having, like we were just on an operations call with our team right before here, and it was on, you know, it was on Teams, and everybody's logging in, and we're going through the jobs this month, and you know, we're saving a ton of time, and people are just calling in from their house or they're calling in from the road. And like in the past, right, it would have been like we all have to be Thursdays 4:00 in Newcastle, you know. Everybody has to make. Now it's just so like there was some things that we all learned collectively as, you know, just people, like how much you could do virtually, and that actually I think sped us up tremendously to be able to handle actually more work. So
dude, you know, one thing that I noticed, you know, and I try to say our circle, and I know that there's people that I talk to that the other people I talk to don't talk to, and it's not that there's anything bad, it's just that they're not in that same circle, right? My circle's freaking huge, and that's a great thing because it allows me to connect everybody, like you were saying, Marco, and things like that. One thing that I noticed, right, is that I cannot think of one person that I'm connected to and that's in my circle that didn't make it through COVID and didn't do well. So if that's not a testament to our network, I don't know what is, man. Like, I don't know what is, because it was super easy to call somebody and get a perspective on some shit that was scary, right? Like you and I talked about Marco, right? Like Marco's like, dude, I just bought a house. He's like, dude, I just bought a house. And you could hear it, right? Like I could hear it in Marco's voice. Same thing with me, dude. I was like, dude, what am I going to do? And Marco's like, well, you know, you should probably do this. This would be a good idea to help like supplement whatever you got going on. Yeah, it supplemented all right. It knocked it out of the park, Philly style. Let's give some advice, okay? Because we both, COVID's over. I'm just going to go ahead and call it COVID's over. Let's give some advice, okay? If you guys have almost seen it all now, and same here. I hope we haven't. Like, I hope now I'm getting to the point where I hope when we do peel up Blacktop, there's some shit I ain't seen before. Because if you guys can make it and overcome all this stuff, what can we do? Like, what is our potential, right? So I'm excited about that. Let's give some advice to some people that maybe are where we were 2017, 2018, pre-stadium job. Like what would be some advice general? I'll let Marco go first and then Kevin afterwards. Kevin, you can't give a quote either. It has to be something from your
uh, getting as organized as you possibly can, is very important, right? So if you have all these things, people are going to ask you to do a lot, and they're going to be in your head, and you're going to have this cloud following you, and you're going to feel the weight of the world on your shoulders. And if you don't have it organized, and you don't have some type of system or some type of CRM that you have your company bought into, it's going to be very hard to have everybody on the same page. So, we started using Basecamp as a company. Pretty much everybody's on board now. It took some time, but that was a takeaway from one of the trades from MPE, and that's the time I started class. And so that Basecamp, we utilize it. Every job has to-dos from when we get the job all the way down to when we get paid, and there's about 20 steps, and everybody's logged in. And we've almost created like a live Instagram, Twitter feed. It is a live Instagram, Twitter feed of our company.
Right.
Everyone posts pictures and keeping everybody on the same page and staying organized. So anybody out there, like whether you use Monday or Basecamp or any other type of CRM that kind of has that type of service, I would jump on, because that'll definitely help handling all the different things that have to happen. A lot of these jobs, especially seal coating, I mean, there's so many things that throw curveballs and changes.
Tons.
Yeah,
there was tons. That's a beautiful piece of advice. The main thing is it's not as intimidating as people think it is, right? Like it's like anything else. You get used to it, and you just got to get in and mess around with it a little bit.
We could do a whole podcast just on Basecamp.
Basecamp, yeah.
Really could.
Dude, you know what's crazy is no one's ever, like, for as much as all of people in our industry use Basecamp, they've never had a booth, never reached out to anybody. Like, they just run a kick-ass program, and they're like, enjoy. And I was like, oh, well, okay, yeah, tell your friends. Like, without saying tell your friends, you just do tell your friends. It's pretty epic. And I think you hit the nail on the head. You can't operate at a high level and not be organized. There's no friggin' way. And then you have to have people in place. You guys, I'm sure, have found that out, that are as organized, if not more organized, right, to help you improve.
That's what your clients want. Your clients want you to be organized and whether or not there's a delay or there's something that happens, they need to know.
Yeah, true.
They need to know. So,
Kev.
Cool. So yeah, my piece of advice is I guess what we were talking about, right? Like to me, the most important thing to make it as an entrepreneur or small business owner, right, is perseverance. And what helps you persevere, through those tough times is exactly what you were talking about, right? The network. And so being able to go down to NPE and then discuss with other contractors and talk to them about issues and, hey, what did they do to become successful, right? Because listen, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? Somebody's done it before us, and let's not figure it out the hard way. Let's learn from their mistakes or learn from their successes, and ask them. So to me, that would be my biggest piece of advice. If you're starting out in the industry, listening to your show, Marv, like, it just inspires you and teaches you, and going to NPE does that, and that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah, and it's a good piece of advice, and not only on the business side, like your network locally, right? Like your family, your friends, some people around. Sometimes you need that just as much as you need somebody that you can call to figure out something business wise. So generally, I say it a lot. It's like, just be nice. Like, just be nice to people. Dude, it opens so many doors, and it's stupid. Like, you can quote this one, Kevin, if you want, and say, I said it. Being nice is very profitable, right? It totally is. It totally is. And it is way more profitable than being an asshole. I can promise you that much. All right. That's my piece of advice. Nice, dude. All right. So we're going to do a pod deck, and I kind of showed you guys some of these. It's totally cool. So somebody got one like 4 or 5 ago that is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes or no? And I've said that now. Since then, I've explained that that's kind of what a pod deck is. And then why. You had to explain why. And a couple ago, we had Ben Rhodes, and I told him about that one, right? And he's like, that would be the one I get. I cut the deck, and I shit you not, That's the one. And he totally hit on. He's like, no, dude, it's not a sandwich. It's a hot dog. That's why you don't say, "Get me a sandwich," and somebody brings you a hot dog. And that was a good point, I guess. All right, I'm gonna do Marco's first, and I'm not gonna look either. And then we're gonna do Kev's. All right. All right, Marco. I think I know the answer to this one already without showing you, without you saying it. All right, it says, what is something that people are obsessed with, but you just don't get the point of?
Obsessed with, but don't get the point of.
Yeah. Especially nowadays, dude. There's a lot. Like, you just be like, I don't get it. It could be a TV show, it could be whatever. There's stuff now that people are like spend most of their time on, and I know for a fact.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm not bought in on TikTok.
I know you are. I knew that was going to be it. I knew it. I should have wrote it on a piece of paper. I should have wrote it on a piece of paper.
I guess it's like, I guess people are just, it's entertaining and you see people dancing and whatever, and it's mindless and it's still, entertaining, but I don't, there's really, I'm not in on it. I'm not in on it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
So you saw that coming? I guess
I totally seen it coming with your personality. I should have wrote it down. Dude, I got a pen and paper. I should have wrote it down. When I read it, I was like, I know he's gonna say TikTok. Yeah, and I just know that because I think what's important to you is not in that realm, right? It's stuff it's the good stuff. I know that about you. Some of the most entertaining times we had is when our phones were dead and we were just with people doing cool shit, and that's really where it's at. All right, that was a good one. Shit, I should have wrote that down. All right, dude, you would have been. Shit like that is happening a lot lately, and it's scary, dude. Like, we had that guy on, like I was telling you, I keep referring to the Ben Rhodes, but we got near the end. If you listen to that podcast, he was like, Marvin, like, I gotta drop a bomb on you. He's like, I've been listening to the banter for 3 years. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, dude, I'm a big fan. He's like, I found it. He's like, and he races for a company called ThorSport, which is Duke Thorson, who owns Steelmaster, owns ThorSport. And he was like, when we got there, they asked us to kind of get to know the industry. And I typed in Asphalt Podcast and Blacktop Banner come up. He's like, I've been listening ever since.
Nice.
He's like, I'm super glad that you asked me to be on here. And I'm like, well, now you're going to come back sometime, dude. And it's cool because NASCAR with Spencer Boyd, Ben Rhodes. We're going to have James Rowe on, who's an IndyCar driver. Dude, they are such great ambassadors of their sports. They're totally cool with whatever you ask. And, every time they're racing almost 200 miles an hour, risking it for the biscuit. So, you think we risk it, fellas. Those guys. Okay, hold on. We got one coming. Kev, I wonder if I'm going to draw one. I'm not even going to attempt to guess Kev's, but all right. All right, Kev. It says, what's something weird that you recommend everyone tries at least once?
Oh man.
What do you think? Yeah.
Something
not
weird.
like that, Kevin. Not like that.
No,
the other way, man. Come on, dude. This is a family kind of show.
Oh man.
What do you think?
Something weird that I recommend some
Is it a drink?
At
Some
least
kind of drink? Some kind of food? What do you like that not a lot of people like?
What do I like that not a lot of people like?
Yeah, man.
Man, this is a good question. Geez.
Or it could be something that's helped you in business too, that not a lot of people do, right?
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, why don't you try like cleaning out a sealer.
Oh yeah,
a sealer hose.
Yeah,
built up pressure on it or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, totally. Dude, totally, dude. That everybody should try it once. There's no bigger fear than you wondering if this is going to pop or not. Right? It's just like, dude, it's one of the worst fears ever. I was telling the guys the other day, I don't know why I didn't think of this, but early on,
shut off the main, dude. You got to shut the main off.
Dude, oh my God, dude. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Dude, that's exactly what I was going to say. We got to, so stupid, dude. I was doing an insurance parking lot and I was still spraying then. Thankfully, I don't as much anymore. I probably will a little bit more this year as we're building another crew and I'm trying to train guys. But so stupid, dude. I didn't have fitted ends on the spray hose. So I had this son of a gun. The hose was cut. It was on a nipple on the spray wand and I had bands, just pipe bands around it. So stupid, dude. It was my first year actually having a nice pressurized unit, air compressor, everything. So stupid, dude. I was by this thing, right? And I was spraying and I turned and the hose had kind of been kinking. So I was holding it in my hand. And when I turned, it turned the damn hose right
Oh,
off of the nipple. Try holding on to one of those sons of bitches, dude, with sealer just pumping and pumping.
oh.
Dude, it literally, I looked down when it happened like an idiot, turned it right at my face. Kaboosh, dude, everywhere. So then the guy, one of my workers was back there, and I'm just like, shut it off. And it's spraying everywhere, dude. And so he shuts the main, as you say, right? Shut the main down. Like I had to yell back and say, shut the main off. Like he couldn't think to just do it. So at least 20 gallons, if not more, is on me. We're at this insurance place. Literally, I was soaked, dude, just in it. And it was like you could hear a pin drop. No one said anything. Like everyone thought I was gonna be like, and I was like, give me a screwdriver. We gotta put this thing back on. And you hit the nail on the head, Kev. It's like, go ahead and do that one time. Try that one time, man. Everybody should. I think everybody should one time feel the pressure and feel what's like, when you're holding on to that sucker and give it a shot one time. You'll want to go back to buckets quick, dude. When that comes off, you want to go back to buckets quick. You're like, dude, what am I doing? Let's talk about real quick where people can find y'all, because I love following you guys on LinkedIn for sure. And you guys got All Out. It's on Instagram, right?
Yeah,
All
all
Out
out,
Services
all out
on-
services, which I gotta get better at. Marv, you've surpassed me on the social media game. I've been I can be stronger. We could be stronger as a company. We will be. That's on the board.
Dude, it better be. I'll come
Right.
out. I'll come out. You have me come out. I'll come out and help y'all to get an outside perspective. I mean, God, you helped me with all my video content so much, back in the day. I'll be glad to help you all out with social media too, as well. But also, we can find you each individually on LinkedIn. That is my favorite. You guys kill it on LinkedIn. Not a lot of people do. Some people realize that market is super special, and you have to be on there in order to tap into the potential leads from that service, right? That social media. Not too much shit comes from TikTok, Marco. So you're fine. But Instagram as well, correct? All Out Services, and they can find you there. But LinkedIn, those are the main two, right? What about your
Yeah.
website? What about your website if people want to go look?
Yeah, alloutparkinglots.com. We launched a new one last year, but again, we gotta add some things to it. We haven't. Hasn't been one of those, but it's good. It's great. We had a good friend of ours help us out with it, and a good team. But like anything, you got to keep it. You got to keep putting more time. It's not set. It's not like set it and forget it.
Same thing as equipment, dude. It's the same thing as equipment. Like you could probably change the bearings in the trailer, right? And it's like, but it's not that bad yet. Like when it needs attention, I'll give it attention. And there's sometimes, like you were saying, that it needs attention now, but you guys are crushing it so good that it's like, all right, dude, we'll get to it when we get to it. Like right now, the main thing is making hay while the sun's shining, and y'all are doing really, really, really great at it. I'm super thankful for our friendship, both of you. I'm very thankful, secondly, that I'm able to witness your journey and that you guys have brought me in, especially with your families and people that are close to you. I really, really appreciate it. I do not take it for granted. I promise you. Till next time, right? There's a chance, that we're going to meet before MPE, I would say. Whether it's both of us or one of us, I might just, while Marco's gone, I might come hang out with Kevin for sure. But dudes, I really, really appreciate what you do for the industry. I'm super glad that my journey is mixed in with your guys' journey as well. We are going to obviously talk on here one more time again, if not 10 more times in our lifetime. I'm going to keep it going as long as I can, because if this is what you've done in 5 years, in 5 more years, dude, it's going to be wild. So I appreciate it. I really do. I'm thankful that I have both of you on here, and you both are my friends.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us on here. And thank you for, what you do in the industry and being able to inspire, all of us to do better and to love this industry. It's awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Be nice.
Yeah, be nice, dude. It's profitable. No, cool. All right. For myself, for Marco and Kev at All Out Services, this is Blacktop Banner. This has been episode 67. And we speak asphalt, right? It used to be seal it, pave it, stripe and kill. I said that first. I'm still gonna say it sometimes, but it's been so crazy to realize that our industry is way much more bigger than the four facets that we perform. You don't have to do all those to speak asphalt. You can just speak asphalt, and that's what we do here. So we speak asphalt, but also we always want you to seal it, pave it, stripe, and kill it. Peace. Peace. All right.